Good evening, guys, and happy Monday. How are we all doing? Adam here as per usual. Today what I'm going to do is answer a very quick question, as I do every Monday, from one of you guys. This time it's a question based around tone, and it's coming from Chris Ford. So that coming right up. Alright guys, so I hope you've all had a great weekend since I last seen you on Friday. Let me know in the comments below how your music etc is going. Sky Painter is progressing very nicely. Not a lot of kind of news or anything to report this week, so I'm going to answer a very quick question, this time from Chris Ford. Chris asks me, Adam, do you ever feel that people sometimes put too much thought into finding their tone? I mean, in a way, that seems like they might be neglecting other things. This is very true, and something that I've battled with a lot as well. A lot of people will assume, and they'll start chasing the kind of tone carrot, and they'll assume that the next pedal that they buy is going to be the one that takes their tone totally to the next level. I'm a firm believer that the majority of tone, let's say 85% of tone, something like that, comes from technique. So if your technique is awesome, your tone is going to pretty much always be awesome, regardless of what kind of gear you're using generally. Of course, there's exceptions and anomalies to these rules, but generally you're gonna have pretty good tone because your technique and your playing and your style is going to be so convincing that you're going to be able to translate that across any gear. The rest of it, let's take that other sort of 10, 15, 20%, that tone is based on gear. And this is exactly the same with everything in life. Every instrument, every kind of, in the studio, 85, 90% of sort of the tone and the sound of the record is based on the engineer's experience, the engineer's skills. 10, 15% of it is the gear, adding the final sort of finishing touches on top, you know what I mean? So yes, people can spend far too much time finding their tone. However, that's not a bad thing as long as they are not neglecting their technique and their musicality and their playing style. Hell, there's entire genres of music and entire records, entire genres of music built on just finding sort of good tone, and you guys know who those instrumentalists and artists are, where it's very kind of average, middle of the road music. And there's nothing wrong with that, and the whole sort of music is about the sound experience and about finding the best possible tone for the guitar. Most of these guys are pretty good players, but the music's very, very average and very middle of the road. Like I say, that's not a bad thing. For me, guitar tone and tone in general and sound aesthetic is very, very important. Otherwise, I would just record through a pod, put some drum loops on, print the CDs and send it out there. But most artists, I would say 99% of artists, guitar players, all musicians are sort of obsessed with tone and about finding their unique voice. Everybody has a kind of unique way of speaking. Yes, there's regional accents, there's languages, there's rhythmic patterns that we all fall into. But ultimately, if you hear somebody you know, they sound a certain way, and everyone has their own unique voice, and that's what we all strive to find on our instruments as well, or I certainly do. But yeah, you've got to be careful not to neglect the other stuff, mainly technique, musicality, your theory stuff, if that's what you're interested in. Otherwise, you're going to have phenomenal tone, but very average sounding music. And for me, I'd much rather be the other way. Look at Jason Becker. He had very average, very poor tone on some of his records because he was recording it at home. And all the gear and stuff that we have nowadays wasn't available, but the music was still awesome, really inspirational, really influential on a lot of artists. Alright guys, so that's all this week. I'll see you on Wednesday when we talk about some more gear, and keep an eye out every Monday. I'll be answering one of your questions, guys. So have a great week, and until then, take it easy.